Spurs up, Carolina fans. This is your boy Phil Harris here at the Ruckin Roosters Show. And of course, we've got a very, very special guest this time around. He is John Roberts. He is the head coach of Carolina Rugby. John, how the hell are you?
I'm very good, Phil.
Good. Glad to have you on once again. I think you're the record holder of appearances on the show over the years that we've been doing this. We're up to 37 episodes. We were just talking about that off of the air. But I wanted to mention a very, very special sponsor that we have this evening. If I didn't mention this, Bill would beat me up on Saturday, so I got to get this out of the way. This episode of the Ruckin Rooster Show is sponsored by Savage Craft Ale Works in West Columbia. Savage Craft is a veteran-owned brewery committed to providing an unparalleled experience and the highest quality products. Savage Craft has been an amazing host to the past couple years for our With You Weekend event. They have the best beers in the Midlands and possibly the best beers in the entire state of South Carolina. I would know. I've drank a lot of beers in South Carolina, and they have some of the absolute best. So I wanted to remind everybody also that With You Weekend is coming up this weekend. Head over to uscrugby.net/events to book your hotel room, check out the schedule of events, and also purchase your tickets to the Saturday social event at Savage Craft, which that's, I think it's the third year that we've done this in a row. They're at Savage Craft. They're an amazing host. They do a fantastic job. What a great event space that they have for us. And, couldn't be happier to have them sponsoring this particular episode. You can see in the little banner down here, we've got their information, including their address, phone number, and website. So make sure everybody checks them out as well. Coach, let's recap the 15s season so far. A blowout loss to Varsity Queens in Charlotte, a close win against NC State, a comfortable win over Coastal Carolina and UNCW, and a weather cancellation against UCF. What has been your impressions so far this season?
Well, we have a new back line, and we have a couple of the same faces, but we have a new fly half who's very good, a new 9 who's also very good, a winger fullback who's really good, Charlie. Chaz, and these are 3 international players. And so when you take those guys and you sort of throw them in the mix, and the 9 is older. He's a little more seasoned. The other guys will be freshmen, so they'll be here a long time. So it's just going to take a little while for them to kind of get their feet underneath them. Sure. So much of it's timing, right? And intuition and sort of understanding each other's inclinations and moves and habits and such. We lost some pretty good seniors. So it's just going to take, it was going to take us a while to kind of get going. We have the makings of a really good team. I mean, I think we are a good team. We have some power. We've lost a couple of props early in the process. Unfortunately, a couple went down like right during camp, which was really kind of hard. But, we had to eat some humble pie against Queens. And it just got ugly late. And that did not make me happy, because I don't like losing like that when the floodgates open late, but it is what it is. And then later on, it seemed to at least a little more palatable, because, they were whipping everybody, by margins almost like us. So, but we did what we needed to do against NC State. We did what we needed to do against Wilmington. We seem to be getting a little better, each game. I was really disappointed, but we lost that game against Central Florida, but Hurricane came through. It was going to be kind of our last really good run out as a team, and we were trying to put some stuff together. It just didn't work, so that's okay. We'll just keep going. Yeah. I think our back line is humming pretty good, and our forwards have gotten a lot better.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say it's nice to see improvement over the games that Carolina has played so far this season, right? Like you had some props go down very early on in the preseason. That's unfortunate. It's such a huge position, especially with the scrum. So, to see the back line beginning to gel and get some chemistry, that's encouraging, right? As we head into a very, very big weekend for rugby. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I
Yeah.
know that you're impressed and proud of this team to go from a big time loss against a varsity program in Queens and have kind of found themselves along the way as games continue to progress and pile up here. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But finish your thought.
No, if you go back, if you look at a lot of the Division One AA teams, the ones that are pretty good, the ones that are sort of near the top of the mountain or at the top of the mountain is Kentucky, the Tennessees, Clemson, us. I mean, all of them, played some Division 1A opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Belmont Abbey played at Clemson. Kentucky's played a few. Tennessee's played a lot, because there's just more of them up there, and up near Tennessee and Ohio and such.
Mm-hmm.
So the way the conference sort of shook out this year with the conference games beginning in late October, it lended itself to an opportunity, for us to sort of step up, and dip our toe or just take a big jump into the Division 1A pool and see what it's like. So, but no, we, even though we got our butts kicked, it helped us as coaches. It helped the players because it identified some weaknesses. I mean, after the Queens game, we're like, oh my God, we got to do something about our lineouts.
Right.
We have to have some moment, oh, look at what our scrums are doing, our loose play, and it revealed some good things too. I mean, you see some boys out there that it didn't make any difference, what the score was, and we were losing. They continued to fight. Right. And then it also revealed some others that stopped fighting. So, but we had a little discussion about that as a team and a program, and I think we're better for it.
Good. Yeah, I mean, this is a huge game this weekend, as I keep mentioning. But what have been some of the highlights off of the pitch this season that you're happy with?
Off the pitch, I think we've done a number of things. I don't guess. I absolutely know that one of the milestone achievements for the program, and we began working on this, Jeff Smoka and I did about 9 or 10 months ago, was our scholarship programs. So if people can understand, if you're a player, you're a coach, you'll understand this. But the way we had it structured before was that we could only offer the rugby scholarship to sophomores. So they had to be here a year. They had to have a 3.0. And we could give it to them. And the scholarships is worth $16,600 a year. So it gets out-of-state students pretty close to in-state rates, pretty close. Right. Yeah. So it's a big, huge financial award. But we couldn't offer it to incoming freshmen. Mm-hmm. We couldn't offer it to international students.
Right.
We couldn't offer it to grad students. Right. Mm-hmm. We couldn't offer it to transfer students. So there was no recruiting incentive.
Right.
We could say, hey, come here, do well. We can get you the scholarship. We're pretty generous with it. But that doesn't, but when you go and you say, hey, I can get you this much going in. Right. And it took us and Jeff Smoka bringing some more money to the table and just developing partners in the university. And then those walls, one by one, began to come down.
Right.
So now we have this fantastic tool, and we're able to go. It's a gem. We're able to talk to kids overseas. Kids from overseas are interested in us now. More kids are hearing about the scholarship from all over. And so it's opened up a new chapter in recruiting for us, and we're getting some high caliber recruits that are interested in coming to us because we have that pool.
Yes,
that pool. That's one of the reasons, that Charlie Dwyer's here. He heard about it. He gets a different kind of situation. I'm only going to get into the weeds, but there are others that came here because they're getting it. And then we're working on some other ones too.
That's
a couple of them may be here in January. And then there's a lot we're working on next year. So this is going to be great because it's the gift that keeps on giving. And God bless Jeff Smoka and the Smoka family for all been doing for us.
I mean, it's a game changer, I think is the best way to describe it. You're talking about the hurdles that you had in recruiting, trying to recruit a transfer student or international student, or just an incoming freshman, letting them know that, if you play well in a year or so, we might be able to award you this scholarship, but not immediately when you get on campus. Now all of that has changed. So we're able to provide that financial incentive for them to come here in the form of a Spoker scholarship right away, which is a huge game changer in recruiting for sure. And obviously will help this program for a long time to come. And thank you, Jeff Smoka, once again. I mean, the guy is a legend. He's an absolute legend within Carolina Rugby. What he does and his family is fantastic to this program and has helped us build this thing up because it's all about recruiting, right? I mean, you can come up with the best, plays to run with the back line and stuff like that to make, to make the team successful. But ultimately, if you don't have the Jimmies and Joes to make that successful, then it's not going to execute very well. So it's all about getting the best players into this program and buying in to the Gamecock tradition of Carolina.
That's right. Yeah, we have 32. There were a couple of boys who did not get the scholarship as incoming freshmen. But then they came in, they impressed, they bought into the culture, they have fun, they play with joy, they're into everything. And then several of those guys got the scholarship.
Nice.
It's on our Instagram and Facebook, but we did a little surprise thing for them and we kind of tricked them. I made them think that they were in trouble, and then and then they're all worried. Oh, coach is mad at me. He's mad at everybody. And then suddenly we said, go watch the video if you want to check it out. But I had so much fun doing it.
Very cool stuff. What's been the biggest challenge so far this season in your eyes?
I guess I wouldn't really call it a challenge, but it's just growing the team. I have a job that I love. I'm doing something that I've, dreamed about doing, and I get paid a little bit of money to do it. Sure. So a challenge is not really, it's not really, I don't look at anything as like a challenge. I just think there's things that you have to work through, and there haven't really been any big challenges sort of off the field.
Sure.
There's been some communication challenges with a couple of things. Some of the injuries, particularly, when the front rows go down and you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to play Queens. And most of these guys, one's new at prop and the other one is a sophomore who didn't get any A-side time last year. And we're going to go up and play a bunch of South Africans and Queens. That was challenging.
Sure.
But it's all fun though. It's all a dream. And it's, there haven't been too many big challenges, just things to get through.
I mean, that's encouraging to hear. I mean, obviously, you're living your dream, right? Like I smiled immediately when you talked about that because I'm really happy that you're here and I can see how passionate you are about Carolina Rugby. I mean, this is a place that you played for, a school that you went to, and now that you're back, and it's been a couple of years now, obviously, but you are leading this program to new heights. And I just think it's so cool to see, you living out your dream of being the head coach at the University of South Carolina. It's very, very awesome stuff.
Well, and I get to do it, and I get to work with all my old college buddies, and then make new friends and
absolutely
meet parents and bring them along. It's the human element, the personal element, the getting to know, the relationships, and elevating people and getting people to buy into what we're doing, and you've seen it because you're on the foundation board. You see the steps we take from year to year. Absolutely. That's been the real joy, seeing progress and making people happy and making people feel like they're a part of something special.
100%. We've talked to a lot of your assistant coaches that you have on the squad. We've talked to players over the years, and they just have glowing reviews about your coaching style and just you as a man. So it's nice to have you back on here once again as the record holder of appearances on the show. But let's talk about the changing landscape within this division. Of course, Carolina plays in Division I AA. Carolina has become a consistent top 25 program. I think it's fair to say that within this division. Talk about the changes, though, that's taken place.
I think what we're seeing, or I know what we're seeing in Division I AA rugby is, at least in our conference, I think, and I think probably around the Midwest too, is you have a group of about 8 or 9, maybe 10 that are separating themselves from the other ones. And you can see it in what's happening within their program. They're getting, say you go to a varsity program, you go to, like we had a student who transferred from Marion. And I'm not sure this is the case with Marion, but I'm just saying you go to a varsity team, you go there and it's a grind. You know, you're having to go to practice every day for 2 hours. You feel a lot of stress because the coach needs to win, and it becomes work and not play. And then you decide, okay, man, I just want to go to a place with a different vibe, you know, a different feel. And those kids are going to the Tennessees, you know, to the Kentuckys. You know, Clemson got a couple kids from Life. We're getting a couple now. So they're gravitating to a lot of larger club programs that are very good, that have full-time coaching and that have traditions, but don't have that grind mentality. I mean, we're competitive, no doubt. But, I mean, we understand when we play. I mean, this season, I mean, we added, you know, a film session every week, and we added an early morning conditioning session, but it's not overwhelming. You know, it's not just rugby in school. You can do some other things. So we're seeing that. So I think we're seeing a bit of a separation among the top ones, I guess, that are, you know, becoming better. I mean, I see every year that we're better.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yep. And then I'm thinking, oh man, we're a lot better than last year. And last year we finished in 3rd or 4th place. We should be finished in 2nd place, right? Or 3rd place, or we should be going up. But then I get out and we see the teams and they're getting better too.
Exactly. Yep. Everybody's getting better. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. And it, at least those top schools are, you know, they're marching to progress, and that's good, because that keeps that lights a fire in our belly and keeps us, and keeps us wanting to keep pace and find that little extra edge. So
I can't imagine being in a program where the grind is so much that it takes the fun out of the game. Rugby is fun, and it should be fun, right? Like, we're in a competitive environment here at South Carolina. We play some very, very good teams, and I know that you demand a lot of your players, but at the same time, rugby's fun, and it should be fun always, right? So, like, nobody wants to lose the joy of playing a great game like that, and you're not going to do that at South Carolina. I mean, obviously there's obligations, and there's, you know, as you're talking about, you're adding you know, a morning sessions and film study, but it's not a 2-day every single day commitment. And if you're not 100%, you know, you're going to get cut for the team or something like that. It's more of a fun environment within this division, but the obligation, of course, is to make the best out of it and be very, very competitive within this program.
Yeah, I mean, we tell our guys, and we understand we're a big, happy club. You know, we have guys on our team that are probably never going to play A-side, you know, but they come out because they want to be part of the big, happy club, and they want to be part of a fun group, and they want to do all the good off the field stuff, you know? So, but we tell our guys, look, if you want to compete for those really good spots on A, you know, and you want to, you know, start for the B side, I mean, you're going to have to show up at 6:30 every Tuesday and do the runs. You're going to have to show up at film. You know, as I was thinking, you mentioned challenges, and if I could go back to that, I thought of something.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I guess one of the biggest challenges I have, and I don't mean to cast aspersions on anyone, is, you know, we have scholarships. We have a great program. We have good coaches. We have this, you know, this great foundation now that's doing the one thing that we really need, that is kind of been frustrating that we haven't been able to move on it, is a nice facility and a field. You know the discussions about this. There's been talks of this facility and doing this and this and this, and the university doing this. I think now we're getting close to having something, you know, but I remember when I was at Furman and we had people that wanted to give money for a field, and because it was such a small school, man, it happened quickly. You know, it was done like over a summer. With here in the state's capital and with the big bureaucracy that is USC, they're going to help, but it's just, the wheels it's slow sometimes, and it's agonizing and it's frustrating, you know, because we have a lot of people that want to help, but we're just waiting for that green light. And so, but like the Tennessees and Kentucky has a nice field, Clemson, you should have a nice field. We're okay, but it's not a selling point.
Right.
You know, we don't have a
Yep.
scoreboard per se. We don't have any stands. It's a nice turf. It's located across from the stadium, which people find kind of cool, you
Yeah.
know. But we just need to create a game day experience, you know,
Yeah.
for
100%.
everybody. And that's something we got to move on. It's just sometimes painfully slow for people that like to move fast like me.
Listen, I get it. I mean, it's almost like marching through a swamp. We're moving very, very slow compared to as your experience, as you're talking about your experience at Furman was it's a small school. We have the money, it happened like that. Whereas the University of South Carolina, it's such a big institution, right? It's such a big bureaucracy system that it's taken a bit longer. And that game day experience is a recruiting game changer as well. Facilities, right? Like if a really good player that played high level high school rugby is being recruited, we can't really show him any type of nice facilities at South Carolina yet, right? That he can, be proud of and say, I'm going to go into this situation where I've got this nice locker room that I can change into my kid into, right? That doesn't really exist at this point, but it's going to be here at some point soon, which is very, very encouraging stuff. Yeah. I kind of lost my other thing that I was going to say, so we're just going to move on from this.
Yeah,
It was really good too, Coach. Trust me. But a huge game on Saturday at 1 p.m. during With You weekend against our hated rival Clemson. What's been the mood like at practice this week?
Oh, it's just been off the charts. I mean, we always are an enthusiastic team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do the stretches, and then when they come in to meet around me, I mean, they come from the try line. That's like a line, like a cavalry line,
Mm-hmm.
and they just sort of run at me like banshees screaming and yelling in the circle. And it's always like that, but the volume is picked up even more.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of excitement. Everyone gets up for the game because the game's always close.
Right.
And Clemson's a rival game, and all the games are close. I think the first year I got here, they whooped us pretty good. It was my first season, and I went up to Clemson. They clobbered us by like 45 or 50. And then I think the next year they came down to play us, and we fairly shocked them. I mean, we beat them. It was close. It was a couple points, and I think that we just caught them completely unaware.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, it's been back and forth in sevens, with us probably winning a little more than we lose, but them beating us in the Nationals last year. But it's always fun. It's always tense. You can just feel it on the sideline when we're playing these guys. So it's been fun. I think it'll be a good game as always. I just told the guys, don't psych yourselves out Saturday,
right?
Because they get so tight and try so hard that sometimes you try too hard, and you know what happens when that. When that happens. So
yeah. It's going to be interesting for sure. I mean, it's obviously everybody has that game circled on their calendar when it comes out in terms of the schedule, because it is the biggest rivalry in the state of South Carolina for all collegiate athletics, right? Like everybody shows up to men's and women's soccer for Carolina versus Clemson, whereas it maybe not be the case in other games. So it's just, it doesn't matter if we're playing checkers or rugby. People will show up to this game and have a lot at stake when it's Clemson versus Carolina. It's just the way it is. So very, very excited. Carolina has a 2-game winning streak, as you're talking about, over the Tigers. What does Carolina have to do to make it 3 in a row?
They have a tremendous kicking game.
Okay.
If you watch their film, they have a very good broadcast, by the way. And Troy Hall does a really good job with them. He's their coach. Mm-hmm. But they picked up a couple new players. They're very good. They're very good on the outside. They pressure from the perimeter, and they kick and chase extremely well. Okay. The teams that they really walloped, and that's been everybody, I mean, with the exception of the one game they lost against a varsity team, mm-hmm. they beat them by kicking and chasing and making breaks. So our back three are going to have an excellent day. I mean, we can't drop too many passes. We've got to counter well. Yeah. We've got to expect it. We're built a lot alike. I think Clemson, I mean, we have a good kicker now. We pressure from the outside. Our forwards are getting a little better. So, but I think that's going to be a key. And, it seems like always the game turns on like one or two things, but that's what makes it all fun.
Absolutely. A close game is good for a rivalry, right? Like if you're blowing them out or they're blowing us out, it's not as much juice or excitement created in that scenario. And in the past 2 years, it has been pretty close. Certainly, within, I think, a score at the most of both of those games came down to the wire there. So it's going to be great. I'm going to be down. I'm flying down from New Hampshire down to Charlotte that morning, and then heading directly to Columbia with the fam to see this game. And I'm super, super excited to see how it turns out. It's the big one. There's no other better way to describe it than the biggest game of the year, other than, of course, the opportunity to go to nationals and stuff like that, or winning the conference. But this is a huge, huge game. Let's talk about With You Weekend, which is this weekend, as we mentioned earlier. What is your elevator pitch to an alum or a parent of a player to attend this event?
I guess my pitch to an alum and a parent. Let me give you a backstory really quickly, and then I'll tell you what my pitch will be. So when I was an alum, I used to come back for these things, the alumni game. And the alumni game, we'd have the alumni game, and it was fun. And then we would go to a bar, and there'd be a couple kegs there, and the kids would show up for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they would the officers might show up and say hello, and then they would go out the door to do their thing. And then it was just the alumni. Right. And one of the things that meaning the foundation, has really, really worked to do in the club is to turn this into a community event, right? A community event that includes alumni, that includes the players and the parents and the friends and the sponsors of the club. So I guess my elevator pitch will be come and just be part of our community for a night. Yeah. Everybody has so much fun. And, when I look at our event, and I see our players, and I see our parents, and I see our alumni, young and old, and we walk into a place, and you can't distinguish the groups, because the players are talking to the alumni, the parents are talking to the coaches, and the parents are talking to the alum. And so it's just this one big happy group of people that are all commingling, and there's none of this, all the new freshmen are huddling over here because they don't know. It's like, no, they're just in the group, and that's what makes it fun. Yes. Is that community, Yeah.
It's all about Gamecocks, right? We're all Gamecocks, and we're all together in this thing that is Carolina Rugby. It's not just the players; it's also the alumni, our supporters, our sponsors, all these people intermingling for this one night and creating this amazing community that is Carolina Rugby. It's really, really cool to see. I've talked about this on this show, just taking a moment to look around the room, and it's going to be a huge crowd once again, as it always has been since you've been head coach, to see everybody just having a blast, whether they're talking to their teammate from 20 years ago or they're talking to a freshman that's just brand new on the team. Yeah. Right. It's just a really, really cool experience. And I can't wait for this. Once again, it's one of my favorite things to do for the entire year. I really look forward to this when it comes up on the calendar. So,
I think it, inspires new friendships. We also hope, Phil, and this too, we hope that it inspires philanthropy, because it takes money to do what we're doing. We have to raise money for my salary. You have to raise money for the assistant coaches and for the team. So, and our idea with this is that, you make friends, they're going to help you out, if they believe in what you're doing. And this is the one big weekend where we ask everyone to make the big gift. Right. This is the one big weekend when we say we want to raise $80,000 or more than $80,000. We might ask you during Gift for Garnet to kind of pitch in with the gift, which was the university's annual giving day. But this is the one where we make the big ask. So I hope that everyone who comes will consider writing a check or making a monthly gift. And even if you can't come, I hope that you can support us. If you can't support us with your time this weekend, then I hope you support us with your treasure down the road.
Absolutely. I mean, good vibes are great. Thumbs up and best of wishes are awesome. But money makes this whole thing work, right? And it's just the nature of the beast, I guess you could say. Other teams are getting great donations, and we see it on the pitch. With Clemson, let's just bring them up for a moment. They're our hated rivals, but they have done very, very well over the years with big time donations, and it shows on the pitch. Ultimately, that stuff it trickles down and creates a bigger program overall. And Carolina has done well the past couple of years with receiving funds, but we can always continue to make those donation goals bigger and better and try to get as much money into the program as possible. I think that is crucial absolutely crucial to the success of this whole endeavor here. What's been your favorite moment with you, Ruckin, recently?
Well, I think, I mean, they're all fun. They're
Yeah.
all fun for me because I get to see all my boys who come back in town,
Yeah.
and you've talked about the D10. I mean,
Oh,
that's my little group. And I get to see the parents. The parents all have such a good time. I love it. They come in, they're smiling on Saturday, and they leave Sunday with a big smile on their face and a headache in their head, but they always come back. It's always good. I think probably the one that was, I guess, my favorite, or sort of had this moment that helped me, that was personally one of the things that was kind of gratifying for me, it was the year, if you remember, we had that first one. It was in the fall, and it was the first one. I mean, so we had a good turnout. I mean, maybe it was like 80 or 90 people. It was the first one since I got here. And, but it was then that spring, we won the conference, and we beat our rivals, and we won the Sevens championship. And then we won, we did good the next fall. We beat Clemson. It was the first year we beat Clemson in probably 15 years or something like that. So we went from sort of this team that was kind of trying to figure it out, and how good we could be. And then suddenly I was the coach. But then that next fall, when we came back, we were able to say we beat Clemson. We got over that, and we won the conference. And no one was thinking that we were going to win the conference. And we went to nationals, and then it was that I think everybody began to understand that we had so much attendance that year, but not as much as we're having this year, because people got excited about it. Like, oh my gosh, this is really going to happen. Something really cool and special is happening here. So there was this sense of, excitement that everyone wanted to be part of something that is going somewhere. And that was so much fun that first year, but it just turned on a dime in terms of just, happiness and all that good stuff. It was good. It was great.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed every single year that I've been to With You Weekend. And there's definitely an excitement within the program about what's going to happen with this team. How far can they go? Whereas in previous years, I felt like, well, here we are. We're Carolina Rugby. We're just doing the best that we can, but that has changed quite a bit over the years. And now it's just like, how far can we go as opposed to, we're just out here trying to do the best we can. We'll see how it works.
As I always tell my guys, and I was told my Furman teams this too. I mean, you can climb the mountain, but the higher you get up on the mountain, the harder it is to get to the top.
Sure.
It gets steeper and more difficult at the top. And so I think we're kind of getting up in that sort of, we're like we're well above the snow line right now. It's like icy and stuff, and we're just trying to get up there and get our footing. But as the higher you go, the harder those next steps are. And so that's where we are as a program. We'll get there. It's 100%. Just I think the recruiting is going to help us. I think the field stuff, when we turn on that, is going to be a really big game changer for us as well. The facilities.
Absolutely. We've talked a lot about the strengths of this program, but I wanted to ask you, I know that you've had some big successes in the recruiting trail since you've taken over this program. What would you say to a high school student, a transfer student, or even an international student out there that is considering coming to Carolina and playing rugby as a Gamecock, as our final question this evening?
I would say talk to a current player.
Okay.
They are the ones that are living the experience. They're the ones that have the stories to tell. And not just talk to the A-side kid, the one who's the star fly half or center. I mean, just go talk to the C-side prop, or to a newer player, and just say, hey, what's been your experience? Talk to them, Or if you're a parent of a prospective player, go talk to a parent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to give you a good story, of course, but talk to one of those that are living it, and they'll tell you the story better than I can, because they're living it.
I mean, current players can be the best recruiters, right? Because they know the experience within the program, and they're going to give most likely a glowing review of how Carolina Rugby is and how it can change their life, right? So it's very, very cool. I appreciate your time, Coach John Roberts. Once again, you've been fantastic, and we've got 2 words to exit the video, and you know what they are in 3, 2, 1. Spurs
up,
baby. Woo! Thanks, pal.
See you, bro.
Bye.